Hi, everybody. With us again is renowned trends forecaster Gerald Celente, and fresh off the Supreme Court decision overturning Roe versus Wade, I'd like to ask Gerald about the implications of this. Gerald's been saying for a long time that when all else fails, they take you to war. Now, this seems to be a form of war, more division to the country. Gerald, where do you see all this heading? What's the
Well, it's more division. There's no question about it. On the other hand, however, um, as far as I understand, it's up to the states.
Right, right.
So it's not like it was when I was a young guy when it was totally illegal. So if you're living in West Virginia and maybe you want to go to, someplace else, it's again, it's not the worst of the worst.
Yeah, but Biden and all his cohorts are already condemning this roundly. The Democrats are promising fights in all these different states that are going to ban it. So and Merrick Garland, of course, hasn't been enforcing the existing federal law preventing protesters in front of Supreme Court's homes. So what I'm getting at is, that they seem to relish this further civil discord and division. Now, do you see any pattern, considering everything else that's going on, that's creating more division in society, more hatred, more everybody taking different sides? Do you see a pattern in this?
Well, there's a pattern that's been going on for a while. It's the Democrats hate the Republicans. You hate Trump. You love this guy. You hate that one. But now it's much worse. And again, with the gun issues as well.
Right.
I mean, what's stupidity? What am I, 6 years old? You're going to pass a gun law and that's going to stop something from happening? Well, they got about 400 million guns out there.
Yeah, the bad guys are going to get guns.
They're going to get guns. I mean, this is so stupid. But again, what's going on with the Ukraine war? Hey, how about that inflation, huh? Oh, how about, the slowdown in the economy? How about all the businesses that were destroyed with these imbecilic lockdowns that proved absolutely nothing? We're going to flatten the curve. Remember that BS?
Yeah.
Remember them closing down restaurants for months, bars, businesses. So look, we won't talk about the $57 billion that they stole from us to give to the military industrial complex to send to Ukraine, to keep bloodying the killing fields, as now Russia has more than 20% of the country. Yeah. Oh, no, they're losing. They're not going to win. We're going to fight. We won't talk about any of that. We won't talk about the hunger going on around the world because of the sanctions putting on, because of the war, because of inflation. No, we're just going to concentrate on Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, but again, Gerald, again, getting back to my original point, can we chalk this all up to just stupidity and incompetence, or is it being done intentionally and altogether it's having this continuing, purposeful, erosive effect on the nation? What do you think?
It's a combination of the two. Look how they just sold the Ukraine war. Every damn imbecile out there learned to hate Russia without knowing a damn thing about why the war started, what's behind it, and the issues. They don't know. How about listening to a little moron like George W. Bush saying Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al Qaeda, and the people swallow the crap? How about we're going to go get that Osama bin Laden, dead or alive, over there in Afghanistan, launched the longest war in American history that cost us $2.3 trillion, and they left about $1 trillion, billions of stuff back there. Do the people follow? The people follow whatever they're being sold. You want to go down the mainstream, stay there, and it'll go right down the toilet with it. So what they're doing with the Roe versus Wade, they're building it up to the biggest issue that could ever imagine in our lives. It's going to, and forget about all the other stuff going on.
So another diversion at the very least.
Exactly, like all the other stuff is, like gun control. I mean, when we young guys, I was 18 years old, I went out and bought a Beretta. We didn't have murders going on in high schools. Mm-hmm. We weren't all taking prescription drugs and antidepressants. We weren't going through all the crap that the kids are going through now. We didn't walk through metal detectors. And we were the biggest generation, the baby boom generation. There are 50 kids in my class. Nobody ever heard of this stuff. What we're looking at is the decline of America. It's going down the crapper, and crapheads are leading us down there. And the imbeciles that swallow crap just stay in the mainstream.
On top of all that is your strong suit with the economy. You know, it's Putin's price hike, Putin's inflation, which I guess even Democrats are not buying anymore in total. But you know, with the economy, the way that's headed, where are we headed as a nation? You know, within the next few years, is it going to be a different country that we grew up in? We won't recognize it as is anymore.
We don't recognize it the way it was anyway. Let's put it all together. You're seeing all this civil unrest already.
Mm-hmm.
When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it.
Right.
You're going to see a lot of civil unrest. Not only here, take a trip to Ecuador. How about go over to Sri Lanka? Look what's going on around the world. All the people taking the streets in protests against the lack of basic living standards, government corruption, crime, violence, taken to the streets. The same thing's going to happen here. This country is, again, you know, I do podcasts each week with Judge Andrew Napolitano.
Right. And
he said the government is, you know, they're lawless. They rob us of our freedom. They kill us. They do anything they want to us. This is the judge. This guy was a Supreme Court judge in New Jersey. There's no authority with a background, judicial background like him in the media that says what he's saying. This country's finished unless we change it. And we're not going to change it as long as you have the crime syndicate that's been in there for hundreds of years, the Democrats and the Republicans. They're a crime syndicate.
Will the midterms change anything?
No. You get one. Yeah, Dumb and Dumber. What do you want, McDonald's or Burger King?
Yeah, you know, Judge Napolitano, who spoke at a rally at your place where I was in Kingston, New York last summer, he had dire predictions where this is all heading, and the protesters, what's going to happen to them. I mean, this is becoming clearly a much more repressive government, is it not?
This censorship? I can't call some son of a bitch a son of a bitch. Oh, no, I'm your leader. You're just a little piece of crap. And I'm a little boy. I'm a little clown of nothing. My name is Zuckerberg. No, I'm Cook. I'm Peach Eye. I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you what you could put on Twitter. I'll tell you what you could talk about. I'll tell you what's real and I'll tell you what's fake.
You know, Gerald, the way I've seen it, the First Amendment is really the cornerstone of our freedom, not politicians, not even the army that could be manipulated by politicians, but the First Amendment at which they are now eroding piece by piece. Once that's gone, it's going to be state information, state news. And then where do we go from there? We go back to what was
already.
Yeah.
It's been state news for the longest time.
Getting worse and worse.
And now it's getting worse. Again, they sold us the Iraq war. How stupid could you be? They sold us the Afghan war. How stupid can you be? And this is before censorship on the internet. It's the same stuff. Again, we're having a rally, a peace and freedom rally again on July 23rd, 1 month from June 23rd. And Judge Napolitano is going to be another speaker there, along with Scott Ritter and Gary Null. And we're going to have music, the Hot Damn Band, and vendors. So we're pushing for peace because, hey, look what's going on now. Russia's now controlling, they're just taking another city in Ukraine. Not one word about peace talks. A idiot, a imbecile. We said from the beginning, you better negotiate for peace now before your country is destroyed, before people are killed, because you're not going to stop the Russians.
Yeah, in terms of who's responsible for all those civilian casualties, they are who keeps the war going. You know, all they wanted was Eastern Ukraine, stop attacking Eastern Ukraine and stop NATO membership, which I think were reasonable demands.
Here's the headlines from Financial Times. Ukraine welcomes delivery of multi-launch rockets. Isn't that a nice headline? Welcomes delivery of and then Ukraine troops ordered to retreat in Severodonetsk, or wherever that is. All right. Then you pick up the Wall Street Journal on Friday. Pope's past shapes U.S. weary stance. And they go on to say that Pope Francis won't say who's good or bad. And he's saying, because he grew up in Argentina, that he saw how Americans control Latin America and how the United States, it's right here. This guy, an Italian journalist, said, and the author of 3 books about the Pope, said the pontiff's weariness of NATO, and by implications, the U.S. reflects his Argentinian origins in South America, is a continent that was colonized by the United States for years and years. And so he tends to see it as a country of the military system and aggressive capitalism. That's the Pope. But you're not hearing any of that in America. All you're learning is to hate the Russians. And again, as you well know, in our magazine, the Trends Journal, we wrote about the overthrow of the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych in Ukraine in 2014 by the United States, when he wouldn't do a deal with the EU and the IMF and chose to do a deal with Russia, got better interest rates, and Russia gave him a break on the oil prices. They overthrew the government. And then we won't talk about the deal between Gorbachev and Reagan and Gorbachev and Bush Sr., that NATO wouldn't move, quote, 1 inch further. There were 16 countries back then. Now there were what, about 27.
Yeah, they're poo-pooing that too. They say, well, it wasn't written, it was just a handshake. So it's not about.
Yeah, so your word doesn't count.
Yeah.
Your word, a handshake doesn't count. Your word doesn't count.
Yeah.
It only counts when we want it to count.
So
And again, let's put this back into full perspective. When we were kids, they had us hiding under a desk,
I remember
telling us that the Russians were going to drop an atom bomb on us.
Yeah.
And scaring the hell out of us as little kids, as though hiding under a desk with a siren going off is going to save your life if an atom bomb went off a couple of miles away. These are the same imbeciles that started the COVID war. Go 6 feet apart. No, we're in another country. We're going 2 meters apart. Don't forget to put that plexiglass in, because the virus doesn't go up, down, or around it. And wash your hands clean down all the surfaces, although the odds of getting it are less than 1 in 10,000. These are the same imbeciles in charge. We have maniacs in charge. Everybody get that in your head.
Well, and before we wrap this up, Gerald, I know you're very busy today. You've been saying for years also that the only hope is for people to become aware, to smarten up. Will that happen?
It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, said Samuel Adams. There is that irate, tireless minority.
Yeah.
If we had a candidate like a Judge Napolitano, people from all over would support him. I go out with him. You have no idea how many times people come up to us, state troopers to doctors, thanking him for speaking out. We could change this in a jiffy. The people are disgusted with the crime syndicate in charge.
Well, as you say, with the American Revolution, it was a minority that actually achieved it. Whether history will repeat itself, I don't know. But before we close now, once more about your rally. It's in Kingston, New York, and when?
July 23rd. And again, that was Samuel Adams that said that.
Right.
It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. So we're that irate, tireless minority, and we're having a peace and freedom rally on July 23rd in Kingston, New York, on the 4 corners of freedom. Judge Napolitano, Scott Ritter, Gary Null, myself, other speakers, and the great hot damn band. We're going to have a good time. And this is the beginning of a major peace movement. I'm pushing for peace. And if we don't have peace, we're going to be rotting hell on earth, because they've started World War III. They're only going to make it official when they dropped the atom bomb, just like they teach you in school. Oh, World War I began when they assassinated the Archduke Ferdinand at Sarajevo. Who gives a shit about the Archduke and what's a Sarajevo? You know, the thing was building up before that.
Right.
And we are at war with Russia. If you gave me weapons to go kill somebody, you're an accessory to the crime.
They're now saying that directly. Some of the senators, yeah, we are at war. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I plan on being at the rally. And
Oh, great.
Hope all our listeners will come out there. I was there last year. It's a great event.
Yep.
Things and nice people that you meet and people expand your knowledge.
Yeah. And again, this is a Trends Journal. If people want to know what's going on in the world, what it means and what's next, there's no magazine that comes close to it. Nothing. It's only $2 a week. I get the New York. I got to read all this stuff every day, see what's going on. I get the New York Times, $3 a day. Yeah. I got 4 stories out of the whole week that I could use that had any kind of trend information in them.
Yeah, I know. It's again, it's state news and it's getting worse and worse. Anyway, Gerald Celente, thanks once again for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again. We'll see you at the rally, and everybody out there, we'll see you soon. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for all you do.